cruelty seems to be very connected to play. I don't know.
Why do you say that?
Well, it started like this. I try to imagine, what is it about being cruel that makes people want to be cruel? And I think it's about control. And what is it about play that makes everything so good about play? And I was trying to think in terms of that, right? So it's like, can you be cruel in a game absent of cruelty? That's what I was trying to think of it. Like, you can't be cruel in a board game where, like, if I'm playing a board game in online adaptation and there's no chat message, I'm playing and I can't be cruel. But and when I think about that, I think, do I get frustrated? Yes. But I have no avenue of expressing my frustration, of expressing that control.
You don't think in Monopoly that you could deliberately have a grudge against someone, make easy trades with one other player, and refuse to make any trades or concessions with the one you're being cruel to? You don't think there's a...
Unless there's a communication where they can tell you, hey, you're doing something wrong here, and you reject them? No, I don't think that's cruel. I think it's unoptimal. That's the difference. I think cruelty has to include an element where you're in tune with what the other person is feeling. And that play also has to include an element where you're in tune with what the other person is doing. Not really
feeling? What do you...
So anyways, I feel cruel sometimes when I'm playing League. I get really mad at someone and they're not playing optimally. And I know what I could say to them to really make them feel bad about their unoptimal play. And when I think about it, it's like, that does not help me strategically, it doesn't help me do anything. It's just cruel. And it provides me an immense temporary relief. And I was trying to think about, what is that? Why? I'm not cruel. I don't like that, but it does do something to me. What is it? Well, when I'm playing League, I'm in tune with everyone, with 10 people's thoughts. Because if any one of those people are not doing something thought out, you will win the game or lose the game. It is that competitive. So you're in tune with 10 people, and you can choose to talk if you want, but most people don't really chat. You can't really type except for like when you're dead or something, right? Sure. Now there are 10 people involved. Each person generally has a game plan, a game strategy. They do something, and it's like on autopilot. They have a strategy.
Is this strategy based on the character? How does that work? It
actually is just, you don't even have to think that way. Generally, yes. There's probably not one optimal way to play League. Probably at a very high level, there are many ways to play League, and each person at a non-optimal level will still be thinking in those terms. They think, we want to split push, get objectives, there's only one way to hardcore win the game. There are many ways to get advantages such that you can do that. So if I'm playing and I want to have control of the game, then just like you said, there's one way to do that, which is I'm going to sabotage the game unless you give me control. That's it. We're talking game theory now. That's something that people do in League, right? Sure. They want control. They're going to sabotage the game. They say in Champ Select, we're not winning this game unless you follow my game plan. Fair enough. Not cruel. Immature. Not cruel. Okay. It's not cruel because unless I say to you, hey, I'm having a fun time. We have a chance to win this. You're ruining my experience. And they gain something from that, I don't think that's cruel. But if you're in a situation, because why is it not cruel? They actually want you to win at that moment. They believe they can help you win. It's a weird game theory where they don't want you to lose. They just don't care if you lose. They care if they lose, right? I'm speaking from experience as well. I don't care if my allies win or lose their next game, their previous game. I want to win this game. Actually, I don't even care about winning anymore. I want to play the best game I can play, is really what I feel. So if they're losing, feeding their mind off in the game, I don't feel anything about that. As long as I can play the best game I can play. But sometimes people decide that 10 minutes in, we don't have a chance to win anymore. We can't win, and all they care about is the next game. They want to win the next game. They want to move on from this game. They don't want to play this game anymore. So they decide, again, because all people are in tune with each other, this becomes pretty obvious soon enough. They decide they're going to purposely lose the game as quickly as possible so that we will surrender quickly, play the next game, because they don't think we can win. That's the moment where I feel like being cruel to them, because I've identified that they've given up. I know they're wrong. I know we can win this game. So I want them to feel regret over choosing to. I'll be honest, it is not. I don't believe these people do it consciously. I think these people. I mean, it's so obvious if you record your games and you look at the gameplay. The moment where support was trying, he's pinging a lot, and then he stops interacting with anyone. He goes to a different lane. You don't actually, you don't catch this every time when you're playing, but then when you look at the game and you try to understand how every person was feeling in that game, it's so obvious. It is really obvious. Because like I said, if they're not at the level that I'm playing, you're at the top 10% of players. You just lose if you don't do the right things. And everyone there has done the right things to a certain point to get there, for the most part. So sometimes people will tell you, say, I'm going to lose now. Nothing you can do about it. Sometimes they don't tell you. They just will be starting to play. You look at the screen, suddenly they have 10 deaths. And you're like, I told you to stop dying. I told you to stay here. I'm going to come down here. How'd you stop dying? Oh, they don't care about dying. In fact, dying helps their new strategy, which is I'm going to lose the game as quickly as I can. So in that moment, I feel like being cruel to them because I have no agency. And so what is that cruelty like? Well, I need them to feel regret or something bad, negative. Okay. And that, when I feel like they are feeling that, I get satisfaction because now I have control in this experience. So it's a very ugly thing, and I can identify it. I can identify it in other people's cruelty. How the way that they're feeling, how I can imagine a circumstance that maybe would have me feel the same way. So you take maybe cruelty in battle. Maybe you're fighting someone that you hate. Well, maybe you're fighting the Hamas people who have killed babies. You hate these people. And it's not Inglourious Bastards. You watch Inglourious Bastards? You hate the Nazis. Film, right? Yeah, you hate the Nazis. It's not good enough that Hans gives up at the end. We need to scalp him, put a swastika on his head. We have to do something cruel. Sure. They need to regret. Hans does not regret his actions at the end. So he needs to be cruel when he surrenders. He needs to be cruel and say, I'm going to give you something that, you can't play this off in the future. It's a weird thing. I think it's connected to play. It's connected to the sense of this mutual control we share in a game. Well, I say the reason why it's connected to play is because I think cruelty takes creativity. I don't think it's easy to be cruel. I think you have to be spirited in a creative way, and you have to be malignant. It takes a lot of these very powerful forces to be cruel. The cruelty is all over the place. So when I look at it, it comes up in play a lot. And every portrayal I see, in like war even, and you're fighting, it's like someone's cruel and they have a smile on their face. Like, I don't know. It's such an interesting thing to me. It's interesting because when I talk to people and I ask them about Prisoner, I slowly get the conversation to a point like this where I'm trying to build someone up as despicable, disgusting maybe, or
build someone up. Sorry,
I talked about Prisoner very quickly. Well, I meant to say someone despicable, but I had to build it up in the conversation by saying a prisoner or someone. But let's say someone on death row who is a serial rapist and killer. And I ask you, okay, it's pretty hard to excuse like rape. But there are situations where I think a person can regret doing that. Sure. But let's say just a serial murderer. is there a difference if he was cruel to those people he was killing, or if he wasn't cruel to those people? If he was a serial murderer who killed 12 people by sneaking into their house at night and shooting them in the head point blank and they died instantly, or he tortured them for several hours and then killed them. You feel that the person who tortured and was cruel and gained something out of that cruelty, you feel like they need judgment. I don't say you, I mean judges judge differently if they have cruelty.
For sure. Very
harshly. There is a huge variety in the judgment they can offer. And all of the worst judgments you see passed are when the person is still smiling in the courtroom. It's in that moment they are incapable of expressing regret. And to me, it's such a weird thing. Why is cruelty so bad? I mean, why is cruelty so bad, but mental insanity is not? They're both... is it implying that cruelty should be more controllable? It's such a weird thing to me, because when I recognize cruelty, it always makes sense when I do it. It's weird that other people don't talk about their own cruelty and what do most people not cruel? Because I'd be willing to bet what makes that person cruel, all of those interconnected, all those things in their brain can probably come about in your life as well. It's just you've not been pushed into war or into hating someone. And for me, I desperately need that game of League for me to enjoy myself in life, because League is something I'm good at and I want to do something I'm good at, and it takes a long time to play. That's why I care so much when someone ruins my experience of League, and I want to ruin their experience and I want to be cruel. And then someone who's cruel at war, maybe they hate this person. Maybe they feel like it's justified in some way.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they just... Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they didn't even do that, and they're just so conditioned at this point to be... I don't even want to say condition themselves. You could probably say
exactly.
Be a cruel person and get that satisfaction of torturing your baby before you kill it. Say.
Yes, I think that the baby thing, killing babies, is out of disgust. I think it's pretty... I mean, maybe I'm undermining the horrific nature of what these people's motives are, but babies are very vocal and very, I think it's a matter of disgust, I'd say. Personally, I could not kill a baby, but I can see how if you were so I would kill a baby bad. Insert something that you find cute, but I might find disgusting. Like a baby animal, yeah, I could probably kill that if I was immensely disgusted and was used to killing, right? I can imagine how, and I do know that's mothers that kill their own babies, for example, it's out of disgust a lot of the times, or it's out of psychosis and they feel there are a lot of things, reasons why mothers kill babies, but the ones that I've heard that have been the most, and they express the most regret afterwards, and they can really fix themselves, is always where they were disgusted, and it's they didn't understand their emotion. I don't understand disgust. When I see a cockroach, I want to step on it. I don't understand what that means.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of that would just be an innate behavioral immune system. Just cockroaches carry around a lot of diseases, so you see something that creeps and crawls on the ground, so that's activating the primal part of your brain. You gotta squash it, but you don't know. None of that's explicit. That's all that's so primal that you just kind of do it instinctually, do it reactionally.
And I think that you have a mother and a child, and in the moment, you're going to kill the mother. It's well, why am I going to leave the child there to scream bloody hell? And I killed its mother, and you start to distance yourself from the humanity of the aspect.
Sure. Right. It becomes a job at that point. It's
killing is already an inhumane thing. You already have a mechanism. You already have a mechanism that you could turn off your brain and not look at someone like the due respect that you need people to look at each other with. Sure. I just, when people say, people don't react the same. They, Hamas especially.
Oh yeah.
Reacting to the babies dying. Babies die in all kinds of wars. That's what happens when civilians die. I'm pretty sure the U.S. killed babies as well whenever we were in Vietnam and going to villages.
Yes.
Like, when you hear those testimonies, like, I don't see the difference. And, like, I don't see this. What I see is barbaric actions that happen in war. That happens in every war. I think war is an avenue for you to do pretty much anything grotesque. My understanding in American, I can understand these Americans when they were doing the stuff that was really bad. It was what I was saying. It was their excuse, their testimonies of the time. It was, it was easy to turn your head away, but there were men raping women, right, and men killing women, and men killing old men, and men killing. Death everywhere and rape everywhere, and you turn your head away from it. It's like, what's the difference between putting a child out of its misery and having it watch you take advantage of its mother? Like, there's these decisions that can happen in the moment are very different than the decisions that we're judging them for,
Sure.
Out of the moment. I don't know how to treat that moment. I think it matters a lot if the society that they go into after whatever they do can foster a change in their heart. If they can get to even understand the regret in their action. I think if they're incapable of regret, that's one thing, and it's like you're judging them for that. But I have a hard time, particularly because everything now has so much narrative, when really I don't think there is a reason why people kill babies. Like, I think there's a reason why people kill, and then I think it happens in the moment. But I think, funnily enough, that Saddam Hussein wrote a lot to people?
You mean like letters and?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
There is a letter that he wrote to someone that emailed him, like just emailed his email, and he wrote back like a very detailed process, and he was talking about it. And then when I was reading, like, this was on Reddit or something, and I was reading those people, and they were saying, like, oh, he's such a sob, he's just writing because he's so full of himself. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's nice that he provided an avenue where he expressed that he regrets, he sympathizes with civilians. It expresses that those thoughts are influential to him. And it's not, you can't just say he doesn't really feel it, because he wrote a 12-letter response to just some random person that emailed him. Like, maybe he's doing this as a publicity stint, but then I don't think the response you should have is you neglect his momentary showcasing of humanity. I don't think that is what you do with that response. And I think like 9/11 is a good example where we can take, how could anyone do this to us? It's like, well, this stuff happens all the time, but now you think about, okay, you had the avenue to do it. There was a insecurity in our airlines. They saw the opportunity. It only takes like 10 people having a moment, one day of that choice to cause a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, if people have so much power nowadays that if you really wanted to, you could do a lot of damage very easily, very quickly.
I think I told you this.
It's a miracle that it doesn't happen all the time.
In a phone call, is like, I could be a serious. I'm not trying to paint this as a way of like, give me some help.
I got you.
I know that if I was malicious at heart and I wanted to cause damage, I could kill a lot of people. Yeah. I know. It is not hard. I have no crime record. I have a good job, income. I have money and resources to buy lots of guns. I could do it online. I could ask friends about it. I could probably do it within a week. I'm smart enough to know that I could cause more than one person to die. I could bring more death than someone could subject to me.
Sure.
Anyone can do that. Everyone can do that. I know how frail people are. So when we see something that like showcases how frail we are, I don't think that's a place for cruelty. I think when you see cruelty, you can't be cruel in response. I think that's what has to be tempered more in society, probably.
Why do you say that? Because what you just said, I could kill 10 people and then someone just kills me. and that's definitely imbalance. So why not take the cruel route and do the torture before the death to even the scales a little? I mean, you could make a very easy case for that, straightforward case.
Even the scales in what's in like the sense that it does to me, since it does to society.
Yeah, in a cosmic sense that we need to even out the scales. You kill 10 people. If I kill you, well, there's still 9 other people who need justice. So why not we even out the scales and make this last a little longer?
I don't know.
Can you say that? I'm not saying.
I think
I don't
is.
believe in the death penalty to begin with, but I mean, you could make a straightforward case.
It really just depends how society views death. What's the tragedy in 10 people dying? Is it that these 10 people had something sacred innately and that it's a tragedy to lose that? Or is it that these 10 people had great potential that was removed from them?
Sure.
And
or
which is worse?
Their families that's been hurt as well. I mean, people are so part of their social.
You know, thousands of people involved in, like, especially in a public forum, like maybe it happened in a public venue. It's like thousands of people watched it happen, you know?
Sure.
The question is, I think that when you look at life as being momentarily sacred, I can't kill you because you're sacred. I think it robs the meaning of what that divinity is. You know, when you really think about how powerful people are. Yeah, we have the power to rob it. I could probably kill 10 people in a blinking of an eye and do that. And you can't undo that. Does that make me powerful? What about that is powerful? Is it because I can remove 10 people in 1 second? Is it the delineation of life that matters? Or is it what I'm robbing society of? You know, which one is more important? What's the lens to take?